This is what the oil looked like before the engine break-in, and this is what it looked like after. Hey guys and gals, welcome to Garage Gear. I'm JB, giving you the best tips and tricks to survive life in and out of the garage. This is a brand new Toro Super Recycler with a Briggs & Stratton 190cc engine. Fresh out of the box and fresher than a Mentos.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
It's never been run before, so let's break in this engine. First off, I've done these procedures on all my lawn equipment, plus many others over the years. I've had several small engine mechanics confirm these procedures, and allow me to say this, if you have a method and it's working for you, stick with it. We're gonna begin by filling this engine up with oil. I'm gonna use the oil that came with the mower. The oil capacity on these engines is 18 to 20 ounces. These engines are shipped from Briggs & Stratton without any oil. Equipment manufacturers or dealers could have added oil to these engines, so be sure to check and add oil as needed. Now, in some cases, you might find just a tiny bit of oil inside the engine, and they usually do that for shipping purposes. That way, there's a little bit of lubrication inside to prevent any rusting from happening inside the engine. Always a good idea to put some cardboard down, save yourself the mess. Look at all this iconography, not a single word on any page. Now, according to the Quick Start Guide, what it says to do is to take the dipstick out, clean off the tip of the dipstick, and then set it on top of the threads. You don't want to twist it all the way in, then take it out and you'll check the oil level on the dipstick. And we're gonna fill it up between the lines on the dipstick.
You're a dipstick.
Good, right between the lines, we're good to go. Next, we're gonna pour in some ethanol-free gas. Small engines love this stuff. According to the manual, you do not wanna fill these all the way up to the very top of the cap. You wanna fill them to the bottom of the pipe. Now, what I'm going to do next has worked for me every single time without fail. And I've never had a machine operate poorly doing this. In fact, they all ran better. I'm gonna set a timer on my phone and I'm gonna let this engine run for 30 minutes. I call it the dirty 30. I'm gonna let it sit in the driveway for 30 minutes and simply run. And I'm gonna use these strap wrenches to hold the bale down. If you're interested in picking up some of these strap wrenches, I'll have a link down below in the description for you. Some will say in order to do this properly, you'll have to put a load on the machine. So if you want to mow your lawn during this 30-minute time frame, knock yourself out. I've never had an issue doing it this way. Just letting it sit there and simply run for 30 minutes will be more than enough to break this engine in. And while we're letting that engine break in, would you mind helping this video break in with the YouTube algorithm by hitting that like button down below? Thank you. 30 minutes has gone by and it's time to stop the engine. Now, while the engine is still hot, it's time to change the oil. Nothing fancy here, but the operator's manual does recommend to tip the engine with the spark plug end up. Since the oil is hot, the oil should come out nice and quick for you. So this mower I'm gonna put in the stow and go position, and I took the pull string and wrapped it around the gas tank so that way it doesn't get in the way of the oil dripping out. And what I've done here is I've taken this funnel and I've shoved it underneath where the oil spout is, so that way the oil can just simply run down into my cup or into the pan if you wanna do it that way. So you may wanna burst out, so we're gonna open this up slowly. There we go. Good deal. Run it right down. So this was the oil that we put in the Toro Super Recycler. This is what the oil looked like before the engine break-in. Check that out. Golden, fresh, ready to rock. And this is what the oil looks like after just 30 minutes of an engine break-in. That is some dirty stuff. This oil is dirtier than the jokes you tell your friends in high school. This oil basically looks like dark maple syrup with little shiny bits inside. Those little tiny bits that you see inside have a little reflective shine to them. Those little bits that you see inside are actually the tiny little wear particles from inside the cylinder and also the piston. This here is a lawnmower piston. As this piston initially moves up and down inside the cylinder, what it does is it sets grooves inside and the initial wear particles fall into the oil. You want to get all those wear particles out so that way they don't do any long-term damage to your engine. Now let's put some fresh oil back in that mower. The manual here actually calls for a variety of oils, and you can see that letter D is synthetic 5W30. That actually gets us a nice wide temperature range from below -20 to up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you believe that? We could actually mow below -20 degrees? That's insane. Hey, you got to do do what you gotta do if you got a snow mow. I'm gonna be putting in 5W30 full synthetic. I've never had an issue putting this in any of my mowers. We're gonna fill it right back up just like we did earlier. And now this mower is ready to go. Now here's a few other points I wanna cover with this whole procedure. First up, this super recycler comes with 2 manuals. One is a quick start guide, and the other is an operator's manual for the engines from Briggs & Stratton. The quick start guide from Toro says nothing, absolutely nothing, about a proper engine break-in. To find any information on this, I had to go to the operator's manual from Briggs & Stratton, and on the maintenance schedule a few pages in, it says after the first 5 hours, change the oil, but not necessary on the just check and add models. In my experience, that's far too long to be running that dirty oil in an engine. Think about it, you have all those little bits being recycled around inside your recycler engine. That can't be good to have those floating around for a long time. What I do myself and what I recommend is, even though we change the oil at the 30-minute mark, I still recommend changing the oil again at the 5-hour mark. You'll be surprised, it'll still be somewhat dirty. Once you go ahead and change it at the 5-hour mark, you can then check it periodically and then change it again at the 50-hour mark or once a season. Some have also recommended using AMSOIL break-in oil. You could use that too. It contains a little bit more zinc and phosphorus to help with the break-in process. Some have also recommended using some oils over other ones. I'm a big fan of keeping things realistic and using what you have. Again, I've never had an issue replacing the oil that I was given with the mower and then replacing it with what I have. Lastly, if you have one of those check and add engine models, you could do this same procedure too. Also, do yourself a favor and treat that engine like any other engine. Change the oil every 50 hours or once a season. Your engine will thank you. You wouldn't just run a car engine like that and then just check and add oil as needed. So why would you do that with a mower? For more cool garage gear content, click or tap the screen right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garage.